Alrighty, well, we are going to get started. Thank you all for your patience. My name is Austin. I am the Customer Service Implementation Manager with Reviewr. My whole goal today is to introduce you to Reviewr as an administrator. Today, we are going to be going over each one of our subsections. So we are going to be going over our management bars right here on the right-hand side of your screen, or actually left-hand side. Sorry about that, guys. Clearly, I need more coffee. So we're going to be covering all the areas that I have starred on the screen with my stamp, and we'll be covering those all today. Today, again, we are going to be mainly going over what you can do as an administrative with the Reviewr system and how to intake in applications. What that means is today I will not be touching base on anything to do with your evaluation process or implementing your judges into the system. Each one of our event sites is so hyper specific on their evaluation process. We actually do one-on-one training calls with each of our event owners on how to manage their judges and implement them into the system. That generally is scheduled during your kickoff call. If you have had a kickoff call and you have not had that scheduled, please reach out to support@reviewr.com and we can put that on the books for you. Otherwise, this training generally takes the full hour, so we are going to get started. Now, if you see, I have my handy dandy spotlight, so please follow that along. And I, again, will be answering questions and opening up the floor for open-ended questions in each section. So please refrain to ask questions until I do open the floor, just because we do have a couple people on the call and I want to respect everybody's time. If you could also refrain from putting any questions in the chat box, that would be amazing, just because I am trying to share my screen and manage the profile, and it's a lot easier just to unmute yourself and ask the question verbally rather than through a chat. If not, and you cannot answer questions, I will open up the chat at the end of my training to go over any questions at that time. All righty, my long-winded synopsis is done. We are now going to move forward into guidance. So the first area I want to touch base on is the dashboard, and that is where you're going to be first led to as an event owner when you log into the system. So the first area I want to touch base on within the dashboard are these two hyperlink buttons up here in the upper right corner, which is your preview event microsite and your preview event showcase. Your preview event microsite is something you all will always be using and going over, and this is basically the site and area that your applicants will go to apply. So what will occur here is this is the direct URL that you can share with anybody that you'd like to come in to apply your site. This is also the URL that you can paste on your website in order to link them to your application. If so, you will be able to see any information you add, such as descriptions. You'll be able to actually run through the account process as an applicant if you were to click on this link, and you can run through that entire user experience. So again, please utilize the preview event microsite. This is very helpful and it'll help you run through your event. The next hyperlink is our preview event showcase. The showcase is a feature that we offer within Reviewr. What this feature does is, just like the microsite, it provides a link for people to go and access, and this is generally used for recognition and public voting. How the showcase works is applications, as they submit into the system, can be brought into the showcase where images can display as well as name and information. If there is public voting, it will show the voting ranking if you want it to. The applicants, if they did want to share it on their social media, can share it through Facebook and Twitter. If you click read more on that specific application's event, you can actually put in videos to play in the system. You also are able to see the images as well and toggle between here. If people were to want to vote on that user, they can hit the handy dandy thumbs up and make their vote placement. We also can allow comments within the public voting, and we can bring over any data that they fill in through the application, such as biographies and basic contact information. Does anybody on the call have any questions about the preview event showcase or the preview event microsite thus far? Okay, letting everybody know this feature of the preview event showcase is part of our standard package. Most features that I will go over today are at no additional cost to you. They're part of your standard package. If there is any feature I go over that does have any additional cost associated with it, I will notify you and let you know at that time. If you are interested in the showcase, please let us know and reach out to support@reviewr.com so we can set up a one-on-one call to get that formally set up with you to know what data we're bringing into your showcase. Other than that, I am going to move forward, guys, because again, we are crunched for time. So moving into your actual dashboard itself, the whole goal of the dashboard is to kind of give you a brief synopsis to what's going on in your event. So first, starting off with status. Status is the status of your live microsite that your applicants go to apply. You will want your status to be active while you are taking in applications. If you are wanting to adjust your status once your event concludes, I will show you how to do so, but if you were to change it to anything other than active, it makes your microsite unavailable. The main thing that you are going to be looking at on your dashboard is your submissions and the statuses they are in. So there are 3 statuses an applicant can move throughout applying to your event, and that is new, incomplete, and ready. The other statuses such as accepted, closed, denied, and pending are only statuses you as an administrator can move your applicant throughout your event. So let's start off with the first 3 that an applicant can move throughout when applying to your event. The first one is new. New means that the applicant went to your microsite, created an account or logged in, but they didn't attempt to save and log out or submit their application. So they will remain in new until they do either one of those actions. Incomplete status applicants are your applicants that have hit the save and log out button. So those are more viable applicants because they did save their data. And then lastly is ready. Ready are your submitted applications. That means they have submitted all the requirements and required fields and have submitted their application to you, which means they're ready for you to look at. Does anybody on the call have any questions about the first 3 statuses I touched base on or the actual status of the microsite? All righty, then I will proceed on. Moving into the statuses, you can move an applicant throughout when either screening your applicants or going through your evaluation process. We'll start off with accepted. Accepted means accepted for review in the Reviewr system. You will move all your ready applicable applicants that you want evaluated to accepted status in order to be seen by a judge. Closed status is your soft delete feature. You as an administrator do not have the capability of deleting any applications in the Reviewr platform. If you would like items or test applications deleted, move them to closed status and then submit a support ticket to us, and we will happily delete any applicants that you want in closed status. Denied is pretty self-explanatory. It either means that these ready applicants weren't viable, so they go to denied and they don't even go through the evaluation process. Or as you guys are evaluating and dropping off applicants that are no longer proceeding forward in your evaluation process, you can move them to denied. And last but certainly not least, if I can actually highlight it, is pending. Pending is the status that is generally used for multiple rounds within the Reviewr system on an application form. What that means is, let's say an application, for example, has a Part A and a Part B. Part B isn't going to be filled out until a later date or an evaluation process has gone through and they've deduced and reduced down their numbers. So basically, Reviewr makes Part A only viewable to the applicants when they're first entering the system. Let's say the applicants go in and submit, and then they end up filling it out for Part A, and then they went through an evaluation process and they're accepted, but let's say only 10 out of the 25 are proceeding on to Part B. Reviewr then only makes Part B of the application form available to applicants in pending status. So what you would then do is move all the applicants that are proceeding forward to pending status. They would log back into the Reviewr system, click edit on their form, and have access to Part B now that they are in pending status. Does anybody on the call have any questions about the submission statuses or anything that I went over within the section that you need further described? All righty, then we are going to move forward into the summary. The summary goes over the days left and the number of entries. The days left is the countdown that is also on your microsite. We highly suggest that you make it your submission deadline, and I'll show you where to update this date as you see fit. But if you guys do have a major event that's coming up that is associated with your application process, you can always make it that countdown as well. The total number of entries here is your total number of submitted applications. As I mentioned to you before, when you start your evaluation process, you're going to be ending up moving applicants to accepted, possibly denied, or even closed. And depending on that, you will eventually lose your total number of submitted applications. But we do have this here for you to show you that total number of applicants that had fully submitted to your event. Moving down into dates and deadlines, this is an area where you can click to update your dates. It leads you to your event profile area where you can make major changes to those dates and deadlines. Below, it does show your major dates such as application close date and evaluation start and end dates. But if you were wanting to add custom dates to this profile timeline, you can. Mind you, this timeline is only for you and fellow administrators. It doesn't send alerts or anything. It just gives you a linear perspective of what's going on with your event at what durations of time. Moving further down, I mentioned before that I'm really not going to be touching base on anything to do with the evaluation process for judging, but I will point out what areas are in our system and what they're for, just so you guys know what they're here for and the purpose. And one of those features that we offer for the evaluation process is notes from reviewers about submissions in the event and questions from reviewers about submissions in the event. What these features both do is it allows judges to share notes with other judges, as well as leave questions and comments for applicants during the evaluation process. If that does occur, the most recent notes or questions and comments will appear here for you as an admin to see and have a direct link to. Does anybody on the call have any questions about the dashboard or anything you'd like me to go over again before I move forward to the event details area?
Hi, this is Nick with the University of Chicago. I have one quick clarifying question. I'm new to Reviewr, not new to the University of Chicago, but I've learned that we use Reviewr for both our University Alumni Board nominations process, as well as our University Alumni Awards process. And the Alumni Board as a whole has different groups working in different spaces. What would be the most effective way for me to provide support and clarity to them in terms of, like, is that two different microsites that I should be coaching them on utilizing and accessing? Or if I can clarify that question with more specifics, I'm happy to, because I know it's layered.
So if you do have two separate events in our system, you will have two separate microsites. How that will generally look is if you click under my events, mind you, I'm logged into one that's only tied to one event. But if you were to click on my events, you'll actually be able to select the different microsites that you guys have access to, and you'll be able to manage them both on separate sites. But again, there'll just be guidance on both. So you'll have two separate sites, like the recognition awards I have listed here. I'll have the recognition awards, but let's say I have an alumni awards, then I'll have a separate microsite with all the same data for the alumni awards. You'll have access to two microsites that you'll be administrators for. If that answers your question. If you need me to break it down further, if I misinterpreted that, let me know.
No, that was a great interpretation. My one follow-up would be, so if there's a board that is trying to make sure both of these processes are honored with relatively similar timelines, but they are different, do you have any suggestions for best practices to help this group of essentially volunteer, service alumni organized and on track?
So what I would suggest is just making sure that everybody's on the same page with their calendars. Again, you are going to have to come in and manage the system. Sadly, our system doesn't alert you when things do occur. We're hoping to have that in the future, but not at this moment. So they will have to manage both sites and both timelines separately. The good news is if they're running around the same times, your check-ins should be similar. You just have to hit both sites to make sure that everything is running smoothly. So I would make sure just to go into both events when you guys do make those updates. And if they are running around the same time frames, that's actually really great, because then you're in at the same time and you're remembering both, and you can hit them both at similar check-in dates.
Great. Thank you so much, Austin.
No problem. And if you do end up needing more clarification on that or a walkthrough, definitely keep me posted. All righty, we're going to move forward and we're going to move into the event details area. As you guys can bring your eyes to the left-hand side of the screen. In event details, we're going to be going over profile, managed email templates, and groups and divisions. Let's first go into profile. Now, the event details profile area is where you can make major changes to your dates and deadlines, as well as your microsite content. Just as a friendly note, your microsite content is the content where it's the live site that your applicants go to apply, and it's the first page they're led to. What you'll do is you'll click edit on the far right-hand side, and right below that, I just want to bring your eyes to the status. As I mentioned before, this is where you can change your status of your live microsite. Again, if you change it to pending, completed, or canceled, it makes your microsite unavailable for your applicants to access. So if you mark your event as pending, it's great if you guys want to post your URL on your site, but it's not available for the next couple days. This is a great way not to allow applicants to apply until that date and time. Completed is when your event is over, and if you do want people to not access the site anymore, you can. I have people that leave their site on year round. Again, it's truly up to you and your preference. And then lastly is canceled. If your event is canceled, you can click this and no one will be able to access your site. Other than that, we're going to move back to the left-hand side of the screen where you can make changes to basic information such as your title, your logo that appears on your microsite. The event date is the countdown that's on your dashboard as well as on your microsite for applicants to see. Again, if you don't have a major event that you're counting down from, I would make this your deadline. Most of your applicants associate that countdown with your deadline. Where your dates and deadlines start actually impacting your users is your sign up deadline and your submission deadline. The sign up deadline is the last date and time someone can create an account or log in to start an application for your event. And your submission deadline is the last date and time someone can actually submit to your event. You guys can always adjust these in real time. So if you decide to extend out your deadlines, things like that, you can adjust them. Just be wary of the time and the time zone that does impact when our system closes those out. That same concept applies for your evaluation start date and evaluation deadline, but these dates and times impact your judges. And again, I'll go over those in a lot more detail during your judge tutorial training. Does anybody on the call have any questions about status or dates and deadline? All righty, we will move down. Letting you all know you guys are more than welcome to put an address in the system and share it on the microsite. Like I mentioned before, you do have a URL that is custom to your microsite. So of course you see the highlighted area that I have with the /site. If you do have this, this is part of the Reviewr custom URL that's always going to be there. But everything that's in the type box is actually custom to you and your event. If you were wanting to update your URL, you are more than welcome to. Just type in whatever you'd like. And then if you want to get the new updated URL, go back to your dashboard and click Preview Event Microsite, and that new URL will present itself to you and you can copy it there. But again, if you want to adjust your URL, you are more than welcome. Moving down into description and rules. You guys can add descriptions and rules to your microsite. We cannot change the headers, these are standard, but anything within the actual text boxes you can add. It is an HTML box, so feel free to update logo, add images, adjust text, add links, as well as adjust fonts. Again, you can update these in real time and it'll update your microsite. You also can add attachments on to your microsite. If you did want the attachments to appear, just simply click Upload Attachment, place in your attachments, and then check mark that you want downloadable materials to appear on your microsite. So again, down here in the list below, it does tell you what you can present, and you can tell them what you want on your actual microsite. It's truly up to you. I would use the upload attachments for flyers, any type of documents that you want them to download, or any updated information. Does anybody on the call have any questions about the preview of the event details profile area? Sorry guys, I definitely need some more coffee today. Okay, lastly, I did just want to state that you can add those custom dates onto your event flow timeline on your dashboard down below. Again, if you want to add any other custom dates for you and your fellow administrative team, click add here and you can put start and end dates and they'll appear again on your event flow timeline. Other than that, if you guys make any major changes, remember to hit save in the upper right-hand corner. If you do not like your changes, you can always hit cancel. So again, feel free to update the section as you see fit. We're now going to proceed on into event details managed email templates. Now, there are several email templates I'm not going to touch base on today because they have to do with the evaluation process. I am only going to touch base on email templates that are for your intake of submissions. Now, in the email template management section, this is not where you send out any of our email templates. This is just where you edit the content that exists in them, and I will guide you of where to send them here later today. So the first one is our incomplete submission reminder. What this email template does is basically if you have an applicant that's been sitting in incomplete status, you can have our system say, hey, this applicant's been sitting in the status for 5 days, and it'll automatically trigger this email template to go out based on them staying in that status. If so, it basically lets them know to come back in because their application hasn't been fully submitted. If you were wanting to edit this template to be more specific to your event and its jargon, you can always come in and click edit on the far right-hand side. You can update your subject. You can even blank copy yourself, as well as adjust the content within the template. Letting you guys know anything with the $ parentheses pulls the data out of our system. So $ event name will pull the event title of your event. The link in all these email templates is custom. So if I were to right click on it, as you see, it has the $ link. Our system will actually create a custom link as it sends out of our system for that user. So if you were to click on it in these email templates, it will not work for you unless you run through it as an incomplete submitted applicant. Does anybody on the call have any questions about the incomplete submission reminder or how to edit an email template? Alrighty, there's this handy dandy guide up here at the top that tells you what information you can pull in to the email template that you'd like. So again, feel free to follow this as well. Moving forward into the other email templates, I do want to go over our reminder for unpaid submissions. If you do have a payment process within the Reviewr system, you can send out unpaid submission reminders. Again, if you want to edit the text, feel free to edit it as you see fit, and I'll show you where to send this unpaid submission template out of our system. If you are at all interested in our payment process and you didn't realize that we had one, please reach out to support@reviewr.com and we can get you a quote on that. For payment processes, there is an additional charge for that, and you will have to have a PayPal account for us to link to in order to receive payments. Moving down into our submission form submitted email. How this email template works is once an applicant submits their application form, they are sent an email stating, hey, we've received your application. Thank you for receiving it. And it provides any other information they may need to know while awaiting your guys' decision. So if so, you can actually edit this email template as you see fit to go out to applicants after submitting, letting them know that we've received their application. Again, if you are coming back to the site and you are one of our older users, this is something you guys have wanted for some time, so I'm really happy it's here for you. If anybody has any questions on this or how to turn this on, let us know. This will have to be turned on by an administrator in the Reviewr system. Generally, we do turn this on unless we're told otherwise. And last but certainly not least, one of our final featured emails is our team invite email. How this functions in the Reviewr system is, let's say you do have multiple team members that are applying for within one application form. Normally, one person goes in and fills it out for the team and submits it. Generally, with some of our event sites, they do want more information from the actual team, or they want the team to work actively on it together. Reviewr has created a feature to make this easy. One person can start their application, and then they can choose to add fellow team members to join in on the same application form. They will then hit on our team member component, add a team member. Then once they fill out the first name, last name, and email of that said team member, it will ask them to invite them. When they hit the invite button, this email template will go out to them to click to join. Once they click on the link, if they don't have an account with Reviewr, they'll create one and then be led into that exact same application form with the same editing capabilities as the event or as the applicant owner. Or if they already have a Reviewr account because they're part of several teams, they will then log in and then be tied to that application form once they click on that said link. Does anybody on the call have any questions about any of the featured email templates I've gone over thus far?
So in that case, are they able to jump from submission to submission if they are, say that, and I'm going to use an example that has to relate to mine.
No
Say
problem.
the realtor or the sales agent needs the manager to sign off something in the Reviewr in their submission. So she shares it with her brokerage in charge. Is that brokerage in charge able to jump from, all of their team members' submission, or they have to
if they're invited? So yes, let's say there are 5 of their team members that need to invite them to sign off on that as a broker on each of those applications. Each applicant that fills out an application would have to invite the broker to that application. But if yes, they do invite them to that application and they're invited to all of them, they will be able to toggle between all the applications that they are tied to. Now, mind you, it does not link the other applicants to it, but it will link the broker to each of those and make them have rights on that application to give it approval.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. I'm happy to clarify. And I think we have a kickoff call possibly later today or next week. So we may want to talk about that a little further just to go through your options. I do have a couple options for you depending on how your system functions that could make it easy for you. Does anybody else on the call have any other clarifying questions that they have on any of these email templates? Awesome. All right, guys, we are going to move forward into event details, manage groups and divisions. So first off, what are groups and divisions? Groups and divisions are a way for you to sort your applicants in the Reviewr platform in your managed submissions area. So if we go to management submissions, you'll actually be able to search by applicants that are associated with that said group or division. So you'll be able to actually fine tune your search for them based on selections. Now, in our system, groups and divisions can be managed either manually to where you assign applicants to a particular group that you'd like to associate them with. Same with divisions. Now, why are there groups versus divisions and what are the differences? Your applicants can be in as many groups as you want them to be. So they can be assigned to multiple. In divisions, they can only be assigned to one because this is just an additional way to search and divide up your applicants. If you wanted to create a group or division on your own, you just click add group or add division and put in the name and hit submit. And that's it, and it'll appear here. And if you wanted to manually assign them in your managed submissions area, you can. But a cool feature that generally most of our clients use is our auto grouping and auto dividing. What that is based on an applicant selecting something in the form that is a drop-down, multi-select option or checkbox, it'll automatically put that applicant into that associated group or division that you associate that choice with in the application form. So for example, in my event, they get to select an award they're applying to, such as the Merlin Award, Nobel Prize, or Pulitzer Prize. As you see, we had some fun with our event. When they come in and select that option and submit their application, they're automatically going to be put into the award category that they selected. So I know how many people applied for the particular award category in my system. So this is a great way for you guys to be able to sort and divide up your applicants. You can do this via region, choice selection, anything you want. So again, if you have any multiple choice selections or any type of drop-down selection in the system that you'd like to auto group or auto divide by, please think that through and let us know. You also will be able to link your judges to these associated groups, but again, we'll go over that at a later date in your evaluation process. But we can auto group and auto divide any multiple choice selection in your system. Again, this is a feature, so you guys can choose to use it or not. It's truly up to you. Does anybody on the call have any questions so far on groups and divisions? I know this is a pretty complex question, so I want to make sure that everybody understands. All righty. If you guys, for some odd reason, add a group or division and you want to remove it, just letting you know, you will not be able to delete the groups or divisions if you have any applicants or judges assigned to that group or division. So just be wary of that. But otherwise, please feel free to manually add in groups and divisions, and I'll show you how to auto group and auto divide later today. We're now going to move forward to customization event configurations. The main reason why I'm bringing you into the event configurations is to go over some major text areas and how to turn on some email templates that we went over earlier today. But letting you guys know to click edit on the upper right hand corner. The first thing that displays is your judge configurations, which we are not going to go over today. That's part of your evaluation tutorial training. We're going to scroll down to the first section that I want to make visible to you, which is your submission editor table and also your submission attachments table. These are areas that are visible to your applicants and judges in the system. I'm going to show you what they are. Basically, in our manage submissions area, if you were to click view, any attachments that an applicant submits will appear in the attachments tab, and the editor table gives them their basic login information. If you don't want the applicant or the judge to see that information, you will literally just come in here and uncheck either one of these options, and it makes it unavailable to your applicant and your judge. Again, you guys can turn these on and off at different durations of time in the form and in the system. The main reason why I also brought you guys here is some text areas that are really useful during the receiving of applications. The first one is your instructions to display to competitors. Competitors in this section are always going to be your applicants. So letting you all know, when they log back into the system as an applicant, let's say they saved and logged out and returning back. This, we provide some basic guidelines on how to edit their application form. But again, if you guys wanted to add anything such as dates and deadlines, anything to look forward to once the event occurs, you guys can always add in additional information and your applicants will see it when they first enter back into the portal. You also, as an administrator, get to pick what statuses your applicants can edit in up until the submission deadline. Now, Reviewr standard setting is even after an applicant submits their application form, they have full capability to edit their form up until the deadline. So meaning if they submit and stay in ready status, they can go in and update their application until that deadline passes. But let's say once someone submits, you guys do not want them to have editing capability anymore, you can simply come in and uncheck ready status. Again, once the deadline is passed, no editing capabilities will occur for any applicants in any status. Again, you'll have that same capability with your judges, but we'll go over that at a later date. The next text area I want to touch base on is the text to display to people who sign up after they submit the submission form. I like to call this the thank you message. Basically, what occurs is once an applicant submits their application form, they can automatically receive that email, but they also get led to a new page stating, hey, thank you for completing your application. You're awesome, and it's done. It lets them get transitioned to a new page so they know that they're fully done. Again, if you are wanting to adjust this text, please adjust it as you see fit. I do highly suggest that everybody does a thank you message as well as an email. Most people don't read, so if you hit it to them twice, they're bound to read at least one. So again, feel free to adjust this thank you message as you see fit. If any of you guys are interested in that showcase page for pitch voting, you get to pick your rating type, frequency, start and end dates for that public voting, and all that fun stuff. Again, if anybody's interested in the public voting showcase page, it's part of the standard package, but we would like to set up a one-on-one call with you to set that page up accurately. And last, but certainly not least, is your incomplete submission reminder email template that I mentioned to you in your email template management section. You get to pick how many days someone sits in that status before they receive that incomplete reminder email. This is where you get to pick how many days. So if so, put in the duration of days that you want someone to sit in that status before receiving that email. Once that date passes, the applicant will automatically receive that triggered email. Again, feel free to adjust this in real time as you get closer to your deadline. If you want to move it from 7 days at the beginning all the way to 3 days when you get closer to your deadline, you can. So feel free to make those updates. Does anybody on the call have any questions about the configuration section or anything you'd like me to touch base on again within this section? All righty. If you guys do make any adjustments, feel free to hit save when you're done, cancel if you don't want to make any changes or adjustments. We're now going to move forward to customization submission builder. In the submission builder area, this is where you can access the application that we built for you in the Reviewr system. If so, go to the far right-hand side of the screen and click edit. Now, mind you, you guys only have so much editing capability within here. You guys can edit what already exists, such as content, such as text, updating your drop-downs and radio buttons, but you guys cannot add or remove questions. So if you do need anything added or removed, please let us know. If you were wanting to preview the application, you can always click preview to go through it. Now, mind you, it is definitely not as pretty as the applicant view, so I do highly suggest walking through that view as well. If you are wanting to see what is in each section, click on the little drop down and it'll show you what is in each section. If you are wanting to actually edit the content within that section, click on the little gray pencil associated with it and it'll bring you into that area. If you want to see what the applicant sees, click preview. Feel free to adjust anything in HTML, so that's baseline text. If you are wanting to adjust the radio button option, you can always click add and add another option. Remember to put the name and match it for the programmatic name. If you are wanting to adjust the order, you can always click the up and down arrows and it'll adjust the order. If you would like to edit the text on any of those options, you can always click edit and adjust the display name. If you want to remove any of the options, you can. You cannot remove the entire radio button component, but you can remove a selection option. This concept applies for radio buttons, drop downs, and checkboxes, and you'll be able to do the same thing for all. Other than that, that's how you edit in the Reviewr system for text and drop downs, radio buttons, checkboxes. Does anybody have any questions so far? Okay, when you're done, hit back. If you are wanting to adjust the order of your questions, let's say I did want the award category to be selected first before the applicant information gets displayed. You can always click and drag and move the order of your questions. The same concept does apply within the question selections. So let's say you did end up wanting to adjust the actual question order within a section. You can click edit. And let's say you wanted last name to go above first name. You can always drag and drop your questions and adjust the order. So feel free to rearrange your questions as you see fit. Now, if you do need to actually move a name part into a different section, then you will have to submit a support ticket to us so we can rebuild that question. Again, when you're done making any adjustments or changes, click preview. And when you're fully done, hit back. Feel free to make as many edits as you see fit. When you're done, you will hit close and our system will automatically save those changes for you. Does anybody on the call have any questions on how to edit within the application form? Okay, this all depends on your guys' comfort level. Any major edits or changes, please submit them to support@reviewr.com and we will happily assist you with getting those edits taken care of. Moving down, I do want to go over some features within this section. We have a copyable sign-up form feature, which basically means if you did allow applicants to have multiple applications within your event, they can copy from their first application. So let's say they finish one application and they go to submit another. When they click add another submission, a pop-up will come up saying, hey, would you like to copy from your past sign-up form? They can say yes. Now, mind you, I do want to clarify that they can only copy from the past sign-up form within this year's event. They can't copy from prior years or any other year's events, just this current one that they just filled out an application for. If that is the case and they say yes, whatever form fields you permit them to bring over, they will be able to do so. And that is what this section is. You as the admin get to pick what form fields they're allowed to bring over and copy. If it's just basic information, such as first name, last name, email, and address, our system already automatically does that based on their user account. But you can pick other data form fields that they can bring over. That would make their lives a lot easier in order to submit multiple applications. Does anybody on the call have any questions about the copyable sign-up form feature? I'm going to take your silence as I can move forward. So we're going to move forward and go into how to auto group and auto divide. So like I mentioned before, you can set up auto grouping and auto dividing based on the applicant's answer to a multi-choice selection in the reviewer form. If they do choose something, it can automatically associate them with the group upon them submitting, and it'll auto group them based on that selection. So as you see here, I have my awards matching to that. So when you do select something in the system, you'll see the multiple choice questions in the sign-up form, and you can click add, and it'll show you the questions. If you are wanting to auto group both selections, you can click add all, and then your drop-down list for the groups that you have built will populate, and then you can add them and assign them. Again, this really doesn't make sense in mine, but as you see here, I added my particular ones with their particular award so that it matches in my system. Once you're done, hit save, and that'll automatically occur based on the applicant submitting in their form. That same concept does apply for divisions as well. Does anybody have any questions about how to auto group or auto divide? All righty, then we are going to move forward under Customization Evaluation Builder. Now, like I mentioned before, I'm not going to be really discussing anything to do with judging or the judging process, but this is where you can access your evaluation forms. You guys will have the same editing capabilities as you would in your application form. The next area I do just want to touch base on is the Manage Pitch page. This is where you can manage the areas that are brought in for the showcase page on your dashboard. Again, if anybody is interested, please submit a ticket to us so we can set up a one-on-one time to go over this, but this is the section where you bring over those form fields. We're now going to move into management and go into management users. Under management users, this is where you can add your fellow administrators under the staff tab. If you are an administrator for your event, you can add as many administrators as you so choose. There is not a limit or number that will not be permitted. You guys can add as many administrators as you want to give you the same access and rights. If they're brand new to Reviewr, click add a new user, and you'll put in their first name, last name, email, and password, and then hit submit. Upon doing that, you will want to definitely put then you will associate them with a password. Mind you, the password is 7 characters, so I will have to put that in. And upon hitting submit, it'll ask you then to select what user type they are. You will want to select admin and hit save. I'm going to hit close because as you see, I have several test people on here. Now, if the person is already a Reviewr account holder, you will select invite user, put in their email address, hit invite, and the next time they log into the system, they will have administrative rights. So again, feel free to add as many staff members as you so choose. If you do need staff members removed, you will have to submit a support ticket to us to remove your staff members. Does anybody on the call have any questions on how to add in your fellow administrators? Okay. Letting you all know you can access your Reviewr information up here at the top. I highly suggest going to management, manage judges to do this area. It looks the exact same, but it's a lot prettier to view in manage judges. But the submitters tab here in management users is a little bit different. I would use this section to pull contact sheets. You can search by the applicants you wish to search for and hit download, and you'll get basic contact information for each applicant. And also you can use this handy dandy login report to see when your applicants were in and out of the system last. This is great for people that state that they logged in right before the deadline and had problems. You can actually confirm that. If you do have applicants that are not tied to any other event, you will be able to log in as them in order to see their view. but if they are tied to another Reviewr event, they will not be able to be logged in as. Does anybody have any questions about the Submitters tab before I proceed forward? Cool, we are going to move forward. And we're going to go to Management, Manage Judges. This is again where you guys can manage your judges in the system. I am not going to touch base on this section. This will be covered in your evaluation tutorial training. We're now going to move into Management, Manage Submissions. In the Manage Submissions area, this is where you'll access all your applications. I do want to bring your eyes to the Add Submission button. If you want to add a submission for an applicant, you can, or if you're wanting to run through a test application, this is a great place to do so. After you run through it once on your actual microsite, I would run through as a main user first. But if you do make edits and changes and you're just wanting to verify the form, this is a great spot to do it. The download button will download whatever you have searched and will pull a full CSV of each applicant's response throughout the entire application form. So this is a great way to get all your data. In your search bar, you can search by group or division. First name, last name, and email address are based on the team member column. The submission name can be anything you want brought into this section. The submission name is what pulls into your report. So if you want it to be your paper title, a specific title or project title, it can be that, or it can be the main applicant's name. Just let us know. Submission ID is the actual ID listed here. As an application is created, they're always associated with an ID. Status, you can search by any status in our system that your applicants are in, even new. Letting you all know, as you know, new means that they haven't completed all their information nor has submitted all their data. So as you see here, as applicants go through the form, some data will appear depending on where they are, but most of the time the new status ones will be blank. That's not an error, that's just data we have at this moment. If you are looking at them compared to the ones in accepted with the fully submitted applications, you'll see that all the data is there and it's beautiful and looks great. So again, notice the variance. There's nothing broken in our system. It's just dependent on where they're at and where their data is and what data we've received in the system thus far. But your accepted and ready applicants will look fully filled out. If you are needing an additional search besides groups and divisions, we can create a custom label for you for additional searching purposes. Submitted date allows you to search by the submitted dates and times in order to pull certain applicant data. Going into the actual columns themselves, you will be able to mark winners in the system, which is covered in your evaluation training. You will be able to search by updated date, created date, and submit time. If you are to click on any of the ones that have the hyperlink underline, you can actually sort by date and time and it'll pick the highest and lowest for you. Again, all of these items, such as company and submission name, we can bring in any text form field you want within either one of these columns. They don't actually have to be the company. It can be the school name, whatever have you. We will not change the header up here at the top, but you can choose what is brought into these sections. Again, if you have a custom label, it'll appear here. You can search by status. Team is the main event owner of the application. And of course, the auto group will appear here if you have auto grouping set up. And you guys know submission name and ID that I already have gone over. Does anybody on the call have any questions about the submission search, how to add a submission, or any of the columns that I've listed before I proceed on? Okay, let's look at an actual submission and go into each submission form. If you are wanting to actually look at Richard Hendrick's application, you can click on the little eyeball and it'll bring you right into their application. You as an administrator can edit any application at any time. You'll be able to look through the entire application form. If you are wanting to see the main account holder on here, you can. If you would like to assign any account holders onto it, you can tie them to it and invite them just like you would in the team member component. If you are wanting to look at the attachments, all attachments submitted will appear here in the attachments tab. You'll be able to view them as an administrator. If you wanted to leave any comments or alerts on these, you can always mark them up. If you are wanting to turn on the comments feature, please let us know because we will have to turn on that feature for you. If you are wanting to download any of these attachments, you can fully download them. And if you are, as an administrator, wanting to delete any of the attachments, you can. If you are wanting to upload an attachment and tie it to this user's account, you can also upload any attachments as well. If you look at this bar here, if you did turn on questions and comments or notes, which are part of the judge features, the most recent questions and comments and notes will appear here. You can assign groups and remove groups within this, as well as divisions. And if you have a custom label, you can also assign a custom label on an individual level as well. If you are wanting to look at evaluations, you'll also be able to view evaluations within this section, as well as edit them and delete them. Does anybody on the call have any questions about the applicant view? Okay, when you're all done, hit the little 2 arrows and it'll bring you back to your managed submissions area. Now, I don't know about you all, but some of those items, such as assigning groups or changing statuses and doing them one at a time, sounds really daunting. We do have a bulk action option. So if you are wanting to bulk action any of your items, you can always hit select all and it'll check mark your applicants and select however many rows there are. And if so, if you do decide to check all or even just check a couple, you can always do so and then go to the bulk actions in the lower left corner. You'll be able to adjust the status to pending, ready, accepted, denied, or closed. You can also bulk action assign a group and clear groups. Same with divisions. You will be able to mark and assign winners. Again, that's going to be something we go over in your evaluation training. If you are wanting to email out applicants directly, you can always select email competitors and email whoever you have checkmarked in the system, letting you know if you were to checkmark all these users and send out a blanket message, it will look like an individual email was sent out to each user, and they will not be able to see the other emails that went out or who was tied to those emails. Lastly, if you were wanting to upload or import in any applications, please let us know that import of past applicant data is at an additional cost, and we would have to provide a quote to you. If you were wanting to invite and resend out those team invite emails, you can always click invite competitors and send out that team invite email again. And then, of course, if you have an additional custom label, the assigned labels will be here at the bottom as well. Does anybody on the call have any questions about the managed submissions section or anything you'd like me to go over again within this section? Okay, letting you all know the advancement tab is part of the evaluation process, so I'll touch base on that on another date. I do want to bring your guys' attention to our managed sponsors area. If you did want logos and information from your sponsors to appear on the microsite, you can just click add a new partner, and then you'll put in the company name, first name, last name, email of the main sponsor, and then you can upload a logo. You can fill out all the data you want, but you will have to fill out company, first name, last name, and email, and then upload the logo, and it will appear in a banner-like fashion on your microsite. But again, this is up to you if you guys did want to add in partners and sponsors. Moving forward into management reports. The management reports area is generally going to be handled during the evaluation process, but I will touch base on what each of these reports are. The first report is where you pull your scoring for your evaluation process. The second report will tell you how many evaluations aren't scored by judges and what applicants they are. The public rating and voter IP address form is for our showcase page. It tells you how many votes are for each application and who voted. The main things that you guys will be using during your intake of submissions would be the attachment count report. It actually tells you how many attachments are tied to each user and what those attachments are via the file name. And lastly is our submission PDF export. This is if you guys do want to export out your applicant data. Whatever applicants are assigned to that particular division, if you were to hit download, a zip file will pop up. Each applicant will be their own folder, and within that folder will be a full PDF of their entire application form and all attachments. So if you are wanting to directly upload and import this information, this is a great way to do so. and to export it out of the Reviewr system. Again, you will have to assign your applicants to a division in order to pull that data. Does anybody on the call have any questions about the report or sponsorship section before I proceed on? Okay, well, that concludes my Reviewr introduction training. I do thank you guys so much for your time, and I do have a few minutes, so I did want to open up the floor to any questions or anything that anybody would like me to go over again.
I don't have any questions, but I know that you are recording this. Is this something that you can share if we have like questions while we're doing it, just to look back at this?
Of course, if you put your email in the chat box, I will send it to you by tomorrow morning.
All right, thank you.
Perfect. If anybody else on the call would like this recording, again, just put your email in the chat box. I will note it, and once it fully loads in my system, I will provide it to you all tomorrow morning. Well, I look forward to working with each and every one of you if we haven't met already, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.